What's up, family? Gerald the Bossman here. You're tuned into the Bossman Show on AM 1010, AM 1430, 1055 The King. Let the King out at 105theking.com and the Bossman Show at bossmanshow.com. Hit me up on Instagram, The Bossman Show, Twitter at Bossman Show, and Facebook, Bossman Show. It's the Bossman on your radio.
Listen to the Bossman Show with your host, JR, Saturdays at 9 a.m. right here on AM 1010, The King.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Yes, BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV, covering content and hot topics from A to Z, sports, music, society and culture, movie reviews, you name it, we have it. Check it out on bs3network.com or check us out on Roku, BS3 TV on Roku, as well as check out your favorite podcast on all podcast platforms or Spreaker.com/BS3 Network.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
You see Coach Gayle, you see JR. We here, we both got on our black and white shirts. His is white with a base, mine's a black base. The same idea, Coach. Say, Coach, we never planned this, but it always happens. We have on similar colors.
Say the ancestors, or I'll say, we're spiritually connected.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If we get started, folks, please subscribe to the show on YouTube. Do that for us. Bossman Show. Subscribe to the Patrick Gayle Show. Bossman Show on YouTube. Also, donate to us. If you go to the web, bossmanshow.com, you go to the blogs. Go to the Patrick Gayle Show. You see the episodes. Top of it, go say donate. That's a PayPal donation link. This stuff ain't free. It ain't free. We keep lights on. We do it. But look, donate to the show. We got levels for you, 25, 50, 100, and other. We don't care if it's $1 or 100. We'll take it for the show. Everything you can give is welcome and wanted. It's how you can do it, fans. Whether they're going to Starbucks every morning or Burger King, wherever you go, get your morning stop. Save that money. Don't get the Coach Gayle and JR to the Bossman Show. Also do it via Cash App Bossman Show. Cash App Bossman Show. So we're at that point, Coach, and listeners, where we have to get donations because, hey, we're behind the market. So guess what? It's time to do it. You love the show the way you love the show. We see you liking it. You're doing it. You're hitting it. So if you like it, donate to the show what you like. Because people give, Coach, we know this from being in your position, me hustling the way I hustle. People give money to what they like and what they respect. So if you like, respect what we're doing here, donate via PayPal, Bossman Show, blog, Patrick Gayle Show. See that top of it, the link, donate, or Cash App Bossman Show. Coach, now I throw it to you, brother.
I just say, sow a seed. Again, if you want something to come out of this, you have to sow a seed. But if you're not satisfied with what you're watching, we understand. And you have the choice, but, I'm just going to speak to those that understand what it means to support others, support like-minded people, support people that's trying to help, other people. I hope that people have watched and realized that we're using this platform and trying to help as many people as we can. And with God's will and God's purpose, we can continue to do that because God is going to bless whatever he's going to bless that is, righteous enough. And if we have the right mindset, it's already blessed. So, I appreciate you, reaching out to the people. All I say is just, do what, God moves you to do and support, others, support something outside of yourself, whether it be this show, whatever you feel need to, you definitely got to support something outside. Sow a seed.
Coach, not bringing people like you and I out here giving real life knowledge. Most things people watch is foolishness. That's just be real about it. It's foolishness. It's not yearning for your life or helping your life or giving you information that you need and can use. It's mostly just trash and garbage that just make you laugh. And we have enough jokes out here. We got to be serious. There's a lot of things we have to talk about to help you and move you forward. All these episodes. It's episode 39, so we're almost at 40. So honestly, there's a lot of content that you can go get a clean, as Dr. Carr says, a clean glass of water. As Dr. Carr says.
Well, that's the. I mean, let's be real, boss man. Your time is very valuable. My time is very valuable. We wouldn't be doing this unless we were moved to do something to help others, and we have seen the fruit. And so when I talk about the seed, you talk about fruit. What fruit comes out of it? That's why you support, because you see the fruit that's coming out of this show. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. There's a lot of things out there that's not good, and we hope that we keep that away from this show. I pray about it every show and every episode, and I pray for you, JR, that you will continue to be blessed with what you do, because I know you do a lot for a lot of people.
Coach, and I try to do what I can for people that I coach. I'm gonna tell you, people reached out to me about my teammate and did not know I did it for my teammate. Because I said I wasn't gonna share that while he's alive.
Right.
That would be very rude of me, and nah, I shared it.
You gotta what you do in the dark, man, and hopefully people can hear that, because that was a touching, story, and a touching, you honored your teammate. So hopefully people can do that to others, but don't talk about it. Don't say anything, just do it like you did, JR, and keep that between the person you're helping and yourself.
No doubt. And like I said, Coach, it was weird not going to see him at the truck stop. It is. It's not that far from where my dad's house is. It's weird.
Unfortunately, boss man, there's a lot of people, out there that need help. It's sad.
Yeah, so I just want y'all to know, thank y'all for reaching out to me. He was a very close friend of mine and a brother, and I never cared about his circumstances. It was what it was. I knew it was hard. Like I got to say last week, even on his last days, he was worrying about me and my success. As he was checking out, he's still worrying about me and my success. So I can't thank him enough for that. Even though he was suffering, knowing he was limited time, limited, but he still found it in his heart to be happy and care about what I want to do for my own career, which has been good for me. So I thank him for that. Even and still, I uplift him, and I thank him for what he did for me. He had an impact on me where somebody had an impact on him.
That's what happens when you give, JR. When you give, it actually is a greater impact on the person that's giving.
No doubt. And Coach, we haven't got a chance to talk about it. Free agency's not ended, Coach. And, I got into a discussion with a scout about the aprons, Coach. And he was like, well, it's starting to, he said it's starting to, grow on him. I'm like, why? He's like, because think about it. The LeBron thing, had it been the old rules, who would have got him. But with the aprons, it's like, you can't do that. So it forces him either to stay or go somewhere else or take less. So I'm saying that it's growing on because it's making these stars think twice about, they just can't just say, trade me here. I said, I see your point to a degree, but what about when you draft well, like, let's say, Orlando, a Golden State? I ain't going to say put those Memphis in there, but you get San Antonio now.
What about the current champion, Oklahoma City?
Yeah, I was getting there. But you can't retain your talent unless you lowball them.
Right.
So the problem with the apron is there's no special rule or trigger for your own. Well, then he's like, well, it's just not. Well, no other sport has it either. I get that too. Well, if that's the case, make the apron level higher, not so close to the first apron. So there are
There
ways.
you go.
If you want to have the apron and a quasi hard cap, coach, give a bigger gap for the aprons.
Right.
Because think about it, coach. Detroit has to extend Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren. So eventually the team will get very expensive. You got Kate on the max already.
Right.
Unless you split up Duren and Ivey, make them equal a second max. That's where you can do it. But looking at teams like that, let's be with Atlanta even. Let's do Atlanta. Jalen Johnson already been extended 5 years, 150. That's $30 million a year. You got to extend Daniels and Ricochet and give somebody else an extension. Right. We know that team don't pay the tax really. So somebody gonna get offloaded. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we know team history. Like, Houston's gonna get expensive eventually. They're under the first apron right now, but when we're waiting till Jabari's extension kicks in, Tyrese and Şengün, So while the scout, I understand what he was saying, but it's still a problem because you can't retain your talent over time. You have maybe a 2-year window, coach, before you have to disband or offload somebody to get under the apron, which is why on your mention the Knicks coach, Bridges is in a bad pickle because of the apron. So your thoughts, coach?
And here's what else it does to me, just from what my observation, and I'm not speaking out of intelligence like you are, that knows the cap and knows the league a lot more. It's not my job. I'm going to use your words. Stay in your lane, coach. Stay in your lane. But just for me, what it does to me is it lowballs and it decreases the financial value of very good veterans that have to take, vet minimum contracts and lower contracts, where in the past they would have had to, get higher contracts. Like just a couple of years ago, the mid-level exceptions and, those type of contracts were more valuable or more financially valuable than what they are now. And that's the problem. You have a lot, like you said, free agency is not over, and you have a lot of guys that are talented that can help teams that just aren't finding the contracts that they would have in the past. So now you have to take these 1 year or these, small term contracts. And you and I know these players want long-term security. So that's what really hurts is it hurts those really good, valuable bench guys that you need to win.
I'm going to use an example. The Clippers. They gave James Harden a $6 million raise to $41 million from 35. He's worth more than that. But they told him that because they wanted to preserve what? The mid-level exception.
Right.
Which they gave Brook Lopez $8.8 million of on a 2-year deal and gave Beal the other 5.3 of it to get the 14.1. They signed Chris Paul to a vet minimum deal. But they squeezed James Harden on what he can get as a free agent to preserve that tool to build a roster, the mid-level exception, the non-taxpayer mid-level, which is $14.1 million. So think about that, coach. They told him, because look at the market, he wasn't getting $41 million nowhere else. So he had to take it. They wanted to hold the mid-level exception open to sign Lopez, the backup Zubac, and Bradley Beal, when they knew he was trying to get bought out at $5.3 million. So
speaking of buyouts, talk about what Milwaukee had to do.
Yeah, so to sign Miles Turner to the 4 years, $107 million contract they signed him to, they had to waive and stretch Damian Lillard to do it. And so they couldn't trade. Nobody's going to trade for that contract. So they had to waive and stretch him. And that's all to keep Giannis, keep him happy. Because when you have a player like Giannis, you don't want to lose him. So that was a kamikaze move that they will be paying for 5 years down the road from now still by waiving and stretching Lillard like that.
You don't have to know basketball. This is more of a business topic. Is that good business practice?
No, but they're desperate.
Yeah. And that is a direct result of the new CBA. That's a
Yes.
question. Okay.
Well, it's like this. If we're in financial, you know what? Because our second fiddle to Giannis is out for the whole year with Achilles, and they didn't want to have a gap year. So CBA related kind of sorta, but it's like we don't have a gap year. He ain't gonna want to set the gap year. So our only nuclear option is to waive and stretch him and sign Miles Turner to replace Brook Lopez, which Miles Turner is a better version of Brook Lopez, even though he was played off the court against OKC and the Knicks, to be honest.
Right.
He's a better option at this age than Brook Lopez on big money. So they're going to go with a point Giannis situation. And Coach, as of recording the show today, there's only one team over the second apron, Coach. Can you guess who it is?
Only one team.
One team.
I'm going to guess, and again, you're more intelligent about the NBA than I am, but I'm going to guess that it is Oklahoma City.
No, they're not. They're on coach. They're actually on the tax coach.
Wow. They ran very well.
So, no.
Which is the team?
It's Cleveland.
That's right. I forgot about
Cleveland. The only team over the second area is Cleveland. Because remember,
that's right.
Boston has just waived a guy to get to 14 million on the roster. J.D. Davison, they just waived him. They're on the apron now, second apron now. And Phoenix waived Bradley Beal. They're under the aprons. They're over the tax, but under the apron.
Under the aprons, right.
Yeah, so only one team now is in second apron world. Cleveland. With all those contracts for Mobley, Garland, Allen, and Mitchell. They're top heavy.
So what did Cleveland? I think Cleveland signed a couple of guys to boost their bench. No,
Larry Nance to a vet minimum. They traded. They used Isaac Okoro's money. They bring in Lonzo Ball. They brought back Sam Merrill. So stuff around the edges. They drafted Tyrese Proctor, 49 picked in the draft, and gave him a guaranteed contract. So they're doing around the edges. They have a small window right now to go for it. But eventually got to offload not Mobley, but Garland and Allen. Those are going to be the ones they offload.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. You can't have three max guys on the roster.
No, you can't. No, you can't. Not anymore.
The max guys are Garland, Mobley, and Mitchell. You can't have that. And Mitchell has the DPE in his contract. So he got that. He got Defensive Player of the Year. So he got the super max. It's even worse than typically.
So everybody is watching that's in tune, that's tuning in right now, wants to know one thing. When does this CBA expire?
29, 30.
Ooh.
And you know what's
5
funny?
years.
Coach, I laugh because one of the architects of this horrible CBA was traded with his own little rules. That made me very happy, Coach. They sent that man to the Wizards. I said,
well, let me ask you a question. So you got 5 years of this, right? Do you predict in the next 5 years we could possibly have, because it's hard to repeat and it's even more difficult with this CBA, do you predict that we'll have 5 new champions in the next 5 years?
I can't say that because I don't know. I don't know the moves yet. But I will say this: OKC is set up to beat the apron. Because
So what are they? So now the next question is, what are they doing differently, other than draft well? Which I said that a few shows ago, and you said no. But they draft well.
They do draft well, but overall, you can't do that anymore in the NBA. You have to do trades.
You can't keep them.
Well, you can't. Well, I'm gonna tell you why you can't. You can't just focus on the draft because you got to focus on winning now. You don't have time. Okay, so
you have time to develop.
You have time to develop players. That's why I was saying, like in the NBA, you're on timelines,
right?
And that was 2 max 3-year timelines,
right.
Okay, so he's on a whole different program. Like the Spurs are, we're gonna develop we're going to develop these guys that didn't have sustainability over time. So OKC has a bunch of guys that were young on rookie deals. So they didn't have those big salaries they're going to have now. But with so many draft picks, coach, they can still bring in cheap talent. So watch this. This Thomas Schwarber from Georgetown is Hartenstein's replacement. Cason Wallace is Lou Dort's replacement. So they have young guys in the pipeline to replace the more expensive veterans that who they've signed contracts to. They're still on their terms, but they can let them walk and replace because if you let Dort and Hartenstein next year walk, that pays for the extensions for Chet and Williams when they kick in. So they'll still be under the aprons next year, even with three best guys on the roster. They're set up different than anybody else.
Well, and the funny thing is they didn't draft their star.
No, that was the Paul George trade for Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
That was
and so to me, it starts with you have to find the right star to put pieces around. And it's funny because as you talk about OKC and how they're built, the team that I'm thinking of is San Antonio because of their star and putting the right pieces around him. And, here's the biggest problem with San Antonio. He has not played any playoff games yet. So there's a learning curve with him just learning how to win, A, to get to the playoffs, B, to win in the playoffs. So, obviously, my heart's with New York, and I think New York is ready to take the next step, and you look at their star and the pieces around him that I think they've done a great job with, the salary cap implications and the CBA rules. So my question now is, for the teams that are in the bottom, what do you do to get better? How do you get? Let's pick a team. You pick a team because you're more. Again, you're more. I like to listen to you when we talk about the NBA. You pick a team. What do you do? How do you get better?
Right. If you're the Wizards, you pray.
Hey,
if you're the
I know about that.
You pray. Nobody's going there. Toronto, you hope you hit on somebody. It's hoping and wishing because think about it, Coach. Washington, Toronto, Utah, Portland. God, people want to go play it. I have to go play there.
Well, Portland got one guy that wants to play there that's pretty good.
He's over the hill, Coach. That's sentimental. He's over the hill. I like the dude personally. That's sentimental.
I think that's big for the league too. I don't think people realize how big that is for a player of that caliber to go as somebody that, loves the game and grew up watching the game in another time to see something like that to me, his popularity should skyrocket even more. And I've always loved him as a person, as a player. But I thought that was huge, him going back to Portland.
So to me, it's going to make you laugh, Coach. Next year, the Thunder are $1.01 million under the tax.
Wow.
This is their cap hits. SGA, $38.3 million. Hardenstein, $28.5. Dort, $18.2. Caruso, $18.1. Chet, $13.7. Joe, $12.2. Wiggins, $10.1. Williams, $8.4. Kendrick Williams, $7.1. Austin Dieng, 6.6. Jalen Williams, 6.5. Cason Wallace, 5.8. Topic, 5.1. Sorber, 4.6. And AJ Mitchell, $3 million. That's how they can do it, Coach. They having all that young talent, and with Caruso and Hardenstein not making too much money, they can still duck the tax one more year.
That's what I'm saying. To me, as you read that, again, they didn't draft SGA, they didn't draft Hartenstein, they didn't draft Caruso. But when you read those names, all those guys are in-house guys that they drafted. So not only are they picking the right guys, their development is obviously ahead of the league. And that's why I bring up teams like San Antonio, Boston, of course, New York is now got, a front office that's doing the same. You got to me, again, I know I'm a college guy and I'm a D2 guy, so, I don't matter, according to what you tell me, but I'm a basketball guy first. You got to be able to identify and develop players.
So give me the ages 27, 27, 26, Crusoe 31, Holmes 23, 26 for Joe, Wiggins 27, Williams 23, other Williams 31, Dane 22, Jalen Williams 24, Wallace 22, Topish 20, Sorba 20, and Mitchell 23.
You know what else? As you read the ages, if you're used to winning, some of those guys obviously they got to get paid. They gotta go get a bigger contract. But some of those guys will stay because I'm not leaving this winning culture.
Yeah, and
It matters too.
they sign you to, they give you more money, they give you more than you're gonna get anywhere else. Because
Right.
think about it, they gave the dudes who don't play extensions.
And again, that is what a winning culture does. You know, like when people feel appreciated, you be surprised what people will do if they feel appreciated within a team setting.
Yes, let me put the Spurs here. I'm on the Spurs. The Spurs have $7.9 billion in tax space. Tax space. Fox 37 million. Vassell 27. Barnes, Harrison Barnes 19. Keldon Johnson 17.5. Olenek 13.4. Wimbyama 13.3. Dylan Harper 12.3. Cornetti 11. Castle 9.5, Shohan 7.0, Carter Bryant 4.9, Champagne 3 million, Jordan McLaughlin 2.2, and Lindy Waters 2.2 million on a 14-man roster.
And they got a great mix of vets and guys they drafted. But I'm gonna tell you what San Antonio did that was very smart. They brought in a great teacher, mentor, winner like Chris Paul to help with that culture. So even though Paul is probably not going to return, um, he is going with the Clippers now. So but a guy like Chris Paul leaves an imprint on a team when he's on a team. So many people talk about the negatives of players, but again, a guy that knows players, loves basketball, for him to do what he's doing at his age, we don't have time to go into the analytics of how he leads to easier opportunities for his teammates when he's on the court, how efficient he is in pick and roll. For him to do what he's doing at his age is incredible because it's one thing to say it and used to be able to do it. It's another thing to say it and do it at the same time. So again, it goes back to, can you draft? Can you develop? Can you keep and sustain a winning culture?
No doubt. And like you said, Coach, like I said, most of the league now is let's do Memphis really quick, Coach. What Memphis did. Memphis used cap space. Brother, I'm gonna tell you how they did it. Memphis had a little bit of wiggle room to renegotiate Jaren Jackson's contract and extend him. So they made the trade for Caldwell Pope and Cole Anthony for Desmond Bain. So they bought out Cole Anthony. They took that money and renegotiated and extended Jaren Jackson's contract to 5 years, 240. So also they had cap space left over and signed Cam Spencer to a 4-year deal, $10.7 million with the developer cap space. So they used their cap space up on Jackson Jr. and Cam Spencer. Then they have what we call, Coach, the room level. So if you have cap room, if mid-level for the cap room, they signed Ty Jerome to the room mid-level exception, and then they're over the cap. But because they have his bird rights, they signed Santi Aldama. After that, 3 years, $52 million. So, Coach, in the NBA with transactions, you have to do them in a certain order to make it work against the cap rules. So he had to buy out Cole Anthony, renegotiate and extend Jaren Jackson, get him with his money, take the left over and give it to Cam Spencer, then come back and do the room level for Ty Jerome. Then with his bird rights, go over the cap, sign Santi Aldama 3 years, $52 million. That's how you have to. It's called the NBA order your operation per se of how you make do your transactions. That's key. So that's why some trades are announced earlier than others. It's based on for whatever team their order of operations. That's how some things get held up. People are like, why? Because it has to be done a certain way for it to work within the rules.
So, boss man, I'm not gonna let you get away, and I appreciate you saying pray. We love it. We love it because it is written that if you just have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. But you got to give me more than pray for a team like Utah or for a team like Washington. What do you do?
Hope somebody wants to stay there that they don't. I'm serious, coach. Nobody wants to go look at Ace Bailey.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. So that ties into culture, yes or no?
And where you are, yeah, and the city you live in.
Of course. So okay, let's put it out there. I've been to Utah. So Utah's tough for this generation. Is that fair to say?
It's tough any generation, coach.
Like I said, I've been there, you've been there. So we're speaking on stuff we know.
Yes.
So what do? You just got a big time, to me, a very, very talented prospect. Honestly, I feel like they have talent there now. If I'm not mistaken, the MVP of the Vegas Summer League is a member of the Utah Jazz. No?
I didn't watch one second.
That's right. You didn't watch Summer League. Kyle Popowski, I believe he's with Utah.
He is. Yeah, he's definitely there. And he's goes to a school I'm not fond of, but whatever.
So, well, one would say that school is doing some things in Tennessee. But anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately.
but no, I kid. I'm messing with you. But to get back to what we're talking about, if he's good enough to be, and I believe this is his second year, if he's good enough to be MVP of the Summer League, that means he's talented. We know that their current, draft pick is very talented. A lot of people feel and view Lauri Markkanen. I believe he's still there. He's very talented. They have a big man. His name escapes me, but he's a very good defensive big man. Everybody coveted. I know New York coveted him. Young man that went to Georgia Tech. His name escapes me, but he's talented.
Walker Kessler went to Georgia.
Sorry, Walker Kessler, Georgia, not Georgia Tech. I apologize for that. But with that said, they have talent. So again, I ask, what do you do? Not to mention Isaiah Collier, Colin Sexton is still there, correct?
Colin Sexton got traded to Charlotte.
Not traded to Charlotte. So they have some talent there and some young talent. What do they do?
They're trying the OKC model, but you got to have you got to make. They're trying the OKC model, coach, but it's not going to work.
Okay, so the OKC model is you got to get that one guy. You got to trade for that one guy, no?
And Markkanen ain't that guy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to trade for that one guy.
Yeah, but the problem is teams don't want to deal with Danny Ainge either.
There
are more layers to it, coach. Like
as someone that is a big follower of the New York Knicks, I totally understand.
Like Washington don't have cap space this summer, coach. Like the Nets did. Who's the one? Who gonna want to sign there? Washington have over $100 million in cap space this summer.
You know what I always say? I always say that people may not want to go live somewhere, but if you pay them enough, there's a premium. Yeah, for going to play there.
It's a tax. So Washington is going to have cap space this summer. They could sign somebody, but I can't look at. I don't know the freshman class yet. I don't want to speak on. So I ain't still say you did to know what they can get, but they gonna have a lot of cap space this summer in Washington. A lot of inspired contracts they got with Middleton. All of Marcus Smart's money is coming off the books too. So they'll have money this summer. But they need a stud and hope they stay. That's the goal for them.
Well, here, who's the head coach for Utah?
Will Hardy, former Celtic assistant.
I like to set you up. So Will Hardy is very respected as a player development coach and somebody that's very, very well respected. When he got hired, they raved about him, and I know Boston, spoke highly of him. In my opinion, just using Utah as an example, And to me, Utah is kind of that far end of the spectrum of an NBA, state, and Salt Lake City being an NBA city that, like you said, is not very favorable to a lot of these young, players and prospects. But with all that said, I feel that they have the front office, and I know you said a lot of people don't want to deal with that front office, but they have the front office, they have the coaching staff, and they have the talent to where I don't think in these next 5 years, because it takes time, I don't think they're going to be bad. I think they're going to figure it out pretty soon. I don't think it's going to be as soon, as some people would like, but I think it will be soon because of one thing and one thing only: culture. So this is still the NBA. As much as you say, well, I don't want to go there, you still want to be a part of the NBA and you still want to get paid. So to me, I feel like these teams, as long as they continue, because you answered the question without really realizing it, you have to keep figuring out how can I get a guy I can build around, whether it be through the draft or whether it be through trading for somebody. So I feel like that can get done. Because when Paul George was traded and they brought in SGA, did anybody other than maybe that front office predict that this would be the fruit of it?
Clippers tried to hold on to him in that trade. Trust me, the Clippers.
No, I know Doc Rivers wanted to hold on to SGA, so
So,
I know he saw something.
yeah, it was known that he was going to be a problem. So everybody knew they tried to hold on to him, but they couldn't do it. They had to give up him and them 5 first round picks. They said they still paying off that trade too, coach. By the way,
What you just said. Everybody knew how great he was, but not only did they get rid of him, they also did what?
5
They're
first round
still
picks.
paying off.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Still paying off that trade. So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. So folks, that's this week's show. Me and Coach Gayle will be back next week with more talk that we didn't script out, just so you know. It just happens. So hope you all enjoyed the show. Coach, I'll catch you on the flip side. Have a great weekend, a great week. We're out.
BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV.
Yes, BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV, covering content and hot topics from A to Z, sports, music, society and culture, movie reviews, you name it, we have it. Check it out on bs3network.com or check us out on Roku, BS3 TV on Roku, as well as check out your favorite podcast on all podcast platforms or Spreaker.com/BS3 Network.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
What's up, family? Jared the Bossman here. You're tuned into the Bossman Show on AM 1010, AM 1430, 1055 The King. Let the King out at 105theking.com and the Bossman Show at bossmanshow.com. Hit me up on Instagram, the Bossman Show, Twitter at Bossman Show, and Facebook, Bossman Show. It's the Bossman on your radio.
Listen to The Boss Man Show with your host, JR, Saturdays at 9 a.m. right here on AM 1010, The King.